everything that we've been trying to express. So I'll just leave it there as a visual representation of the tome of work that the community has put into this process. I can't really add any more today, or probably once I actually digest the DEIR, than what has already been expressed in those 1,400 pages. I will say, though, that the community that is here is very encouraging to me, and I want to remind everybody that we are going to do information sessions hosted by the Allston Brighton CDC, 7 of them in January. So if you would like to get some help digesting this tome of a 600-page document of the DOT plan, talk to Jason over there. We have 6 or 7 coffee hours. We're going to be bouncing around Allston and Brighton. We're going to be at the libraries. We're going to have opportunities for you to write your own comment letters in your own words, in your own handwriting, that will go to the official process. So all the thoughts that you are having here need to be documented, need to be put down into this process so that they can understand the needs of the community. I'll say a few things, though, in response to some of the comments that I've heard tonight, if I may, and I'll be very brief. Please. The bike infrastructure, which Nate is referring to on Cambridge Street, it will be improved from current conditions, yes, because the on-ramps and off-ramps will be slightly further away. However, if you were going from, say, Pizzeria in Regina to the river, you were going to cross a 4-lane intersection, another 4-lane intersection, another 4-lane intersection, then a 5-lane intersection, then a 3-lane intersection, then a 5-lane intersection, and then another 5-lane intersection. If you are at Ashford Street in Boston University and you want to get to the river, you will cross a ramp to a 4-lane intersection, which is also an off-ramp, to a 5-lane intersection, which is also an on-ramp, to a 5-lane intersection, to a 4-lane intersection, to a 5-lane intersection. This is not the off-street multi-use pathway that we've been talking about since Mike and I took this bike ride 3 years ago. West Station, you are claiming, will only have ridership of 250 people a day. Correct? That is the analysis of the traffic study, that only 250 people will use the commuter rail stop. Do you believe this? This is the traffic data which is going to influence how many cars we will now need to accommodate on our street grid, which is basically necessitating these 4-lane, 5-lane, 6-lane intersections. 250 people. Now, if you had maybe traffic modeled a West Station with our intention, which would connect Harvard Square to Longwood, West Station to Kendall Square, points north and south, points east and west, I imagine 250 people would maybe take the first train. So there are some serious flaws with what I've been seeing in the past. I don't know, we gave us 4 days from receiving the DEIR to get a little bit of analysis. These are just a few little things that we've picked up. A few things that are the discrepancy between this 1,400-page, 3 years worth of work with now what we have 45 days of which to comment. I do also want to say that without the transit, without the West Station, you cannot have transit-oriented development. I've seen a lot of developers, most of them have left because we have gone on today. We have a lot of development happening in Allston and Brighton. We are one of the hot neighborhoods the city of Boston likes to put for us. We are in a boom that has never been seen before within the city of Boston. The BPDA comes and gives these presentations about, look what New Balance can bring. Look what Harvard's going to do with their enterprise campus. Look at all of this new development on Western Avenue, St. Gabriel's, all coming into this neighborhood because we have great transit, we have great walkability. You cannot have transit-oriented development without the transit, which, if you follow that logic, we're probably not going to be able to handle the development, which means we're probably going to have to stop the development, which should be very scary for those in the city and the state who need this development to occur for tax dollars, for the betterment of these disused parcels. I agree that 80 acres worth of, let's say, abandoned railroad lines and abandoned tractor truck facilities and torn down warehouses should be redeveloped. But it cannot be redeveloped at the cost of inundating all of the rest of our neighborhood with basically the congestion that would paralyze what we already have as overburdened streets. So my appeal is to the city who is here that if you want, thank you, Jim, actually. Thank you so much for coming to all of these meetings as well. Jim is very well represented in this tone as well. If you want the development to occur, if you want the tax dollars to make their way into the city coffers, you have to focus on the transit side of the transit-oriented development first. And you cannot wait 25 years down the line to possibly, potentially, maybe have a 250 a day person commuter rail stop. So I really hope that is getting through. I also want to say to Senator Brownsberger, thank you so much for all of your participation and to focus on the bigger picture. This is an urban rail conversation that goes well beyond this box. We 100% agree that the conversation we were having is not about just Beacon Yards. It's not about just this parcel of 40 acres worth of development, which we all agree that Harvard will benefit from for the most. However, this is a crucial step in the whole interconnected network. And if we cannot get this parcel proper, if we cannot get this as a sign of the policy with which we need DOT and the governor to really take, then we will not have basically the faith to go on that we can keep moving forward. We will stall on this project, and this could be a roadblock, this could be a wall, if we only focus on, well, we'll do what we can with a few buses, then we're not going to really connect and build what we really want to have here, which is essentially a connection from Porter Square to Harvard Square to Longwood, a connection from the Worcester line up to Kendall Square, basically connecting the North Rail and the South Rail. This is only one project, I agree, but this project represents so much more than just this one project. That if we allow the DOT board to completely ride just the highway here, then we are basically buying into the death of the policy that could bring us urban rail. And I, for one, am not willing to accept the fact that, oh, well, it's a hard conversation, so maybe we'll give this project a pass. This project represents the step we need to take, so let's pull up our bootstraps and make it happen. That was why we were on that train platform in 2014. Because we said, we're going to do this. We're going to push harder. And the governor and the mayor, granted it's a former governor, but it's the current mayor and current elected leaders, basically said, keep fighting for it. It comes down to the neighborhood advocating for this. And I do not begrudge the project team, because you are under constraints, and you have a job to do, which is basically to make sure the freeway does not fall down. You are under the directive to make sure the freeway does not fall down. But I really will implore my senator and all the rest of the State House and those in the city who can influence this and those at Harvard who have the funding and the land ownership to help change that directive, to get to a policy level to make it so that this is not just a freeway project. And I'm quoting Marty Walsh here by saying this is not just a freeway project. So you have your orders, don't get me wrong, you do not set the policy. But you help with this policy. And the city helps with this policy. And the residents can help with this policy. And this is the time, we have 45 days in order to make this message heard. Not to the project team, not to the consultants, but really to the governor, that this is what we're asking for. This is what we need in order for all of our vision of what we want our neighborhood and all the region to actually fulfill. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you very much.